7 o'clock, so I'm happy to hear the state of the town. Mr. Town Manager, please go ahead.
Yes, so good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, members of the community and the staff team. Thank you for joining us this evening for the 2022 State of the Town. We have a good story to tell, despite all the challenges that all of us have faced. The town has risen to the call to provide quality services in difficult circumstance. And the charter requires that I report to the council annually on the state of the town, but it doesn't prescribe any format. So what we have done in years past is provided a broad picture of the past year, as well as a glimpse into the year ahead as we finalize the proposed budget. We'll talk later this evening about the proposed budget, and that will be delivered to the mayor and council the first week of April. Before we go too far in the presentation, it's important to pause to acknowledge all of our partners. And it is this group and others that make the town strong. And so let us start with the elected leadership, to whom I am accountable. And throughout the last year, the mayor and council have continued their outward focus to ensure the delivery of quality services and support for our residents, businesses, and visitors and employees through various legislative actions. And to the town residents for their assistance and collaboration and care for each other that truly makes the town of Riverdale Park an incredible place. And CCAR, a tenacious community development organization that has worked to feed our residents, support businesses, plant trees, and further long-term workforce development. And the Riverdale Park Farmers Market, Mr. Coleman, for the constant source of nutritious food offerings, expanding their efforts to participate in the town's Farmers Market Dollar program, and always bringing smiles behind the mask to all those present. And to Riversdale House Museum, a sincere thank you for your partnership on the Summer Jazz Series, and a warm welcome to their new director, Maya Davis, and for their good work to properly frame our past as we plan our future. And Riverdale Park Arts, bringing music and calm and hope, implementing train stop tunes, and reminding us of the importance of art. And our partner in Hyattsville CDC for providing public art, and again, expanding the traffic box wraps, helping us in our placemaking efforts. And the Riverdale Volunteer Fire Department, Inc., since 1927, providing assistance in enhancing public safety and community health, and recently supported the town in a special election. And the Prince George's County government, the partnership with the county is both necessary and foundational to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of town residents, a source of grant funding, and a partner on important infrastructure projects. And a special thank you to County Council member Danielle Glaros for her countless hours assisting residents, her insights and direct assistance in navigating county processes, and her assistance in resolving resident concerns. The state of Maryland, also another partner in bettering the lives of our residents, whether by providing infrastructure improvements, direct grants to the town, and partnering with the town in addressing concerns for our shared residents. Our faith community partners, an inspiration and dedication to improving the lives of our residents, continues to be illustrated in their daily work throughout this stressful time, a time of uncertainty. The food distributions, the health screenings, and the hope certainly makes TRP strong. And the District 22 delegation, a partner in addressing state-related concerns, a partner in securing state funding, and a responsive team to further the town's goals. And then we have our internal groups, the Ethics Commission. This proactive team of residents works to elevate the town's approach to ethics. And now, as we celebrate Ethics Awareness Month, it is good to pause to thank our residents who have reviewed the town code and charter, drafted recommendations for amendments, review the annual financial disclosure forms, and ensures those running for office properly disclose information. Our Board of Code Appeals. This group of volunteers, their caseload has been light, but their existence helps shape neighborhood services posture and provides the proper due process for those who believe they've been aggrieved by a decision of a town code official. And the Chiefs Community Advisory Committee, a diverse sounding board whose members have raised important questions. And when the community was experiencing a spike in violent crime, stepped forward to create public safety announcements. And the election judges and other election officials providing election integrity, giving TRP residents surety that guidance is being followed, that the elections are fair and ballots are counted. And as the town forms a board of elections, much more will be asked of the chief and deputy chief as the town looks to improve process and update regulations. And to the town sustainability committee, the green team, they kind of grow on you. TRP's Sustainable Compass. This group of resident activists ensures the town's continued certification as a Sustainable Maryland certified community. They track information for the pilot compost project. They volunteer for community cleanups and lead sustainability efforts by living sustainably and being an example for others. And then our volunteers, whether volunteering directly for a town event or volunteering for food distribution, mask distribution, or planting trees, cleaning up litter, or being the unseen volunteer who's just caring for their neighbor. The residents of TRP make the town strong. And now I turn to the staff team. Where to begin? The staff team is a small group of people. And I believe that they have demonstrated a singular focus, a focus to make the town of Riverdale Park the location of choice for our residents, our businesses and visitors, and for our employees. They're great ambassadors. All TRP staff deserve sincere thank you for their individual and collective efforts. The diverse team that we have built outworks the staff of any competitor and constantly works to improve and deliver services. We work hard to recognize the good work of our staff internally. But it's important that we recognize tonight the awards that have been recently given to 3 staff members. We have telecommunicator Matt Kenyon being recognized as the Prince George's County Police Chiefs Association Civilian of the Year for his outstanding work. We have Officer Josie, that's our police officer who, while trying to apprehend an armed felon, was shot, recognized as Officer of the Year by the Prince George's County Police Chiefs Association. And we have the Top Cop, the Maryland Municipal League Top Cop Award going to Officer Bo Sanders for his good work and life-saving work And I believe that Officer Saunders performed CPR on two of our residents, or two people in town. Not sure if they were residents, but for their good work to be recognized on the county and state level, that speaks volumes about the quality of staff that we have here in Riverdale Park. And this takes me to the leadership team. So I worked on this graphic because I think this actually accurately displays and illustrates who we are. We're a flat organization. That's how I run things, right? This isn't about John. This is about the town. This is about our residents. And this leadership team, we communicate among and between all of us. And we continue that flat organization posture into all of our discussions with staff. I think that's why we've developed such innovative programming, because we look to the newest person and the most senior person, and we say, what do you think? How can we make this better? And it's that approach in leadership. It's that approach in creating a workplace culture that has produced results for the town of Riverdale Park. So we are not without our challenges or our concerns. COVID-19. I didn't even write notes for this page because I thought I could write a book on concerns as it relates to COVID-19. But we all have dealt with the impact, and the town has responded very well, I believe, with an outward focus, always looking for a new way to meet the needs of our residents and our businesses. We have other concerns such as staffing and the size of our organization. I mentioned a few moments ago that we outwork other municipalities, and I'm not talking simply about other municipalities of a similar size. I've heard it said that we punch above our weight. So choose your analogy. But at the end of the day, TRP delivers. The social distancing, though, has taken its toll on all of us. Whether our residents or business owners or employees or visitors, but the town staff as well. It's hard. And it's important that we recognize that's a stressor on all of us. We're now concerned about the supply chain and how that is going to impact our operations. And we're taking measures each day to ensure that things that we can acquire now that we may need in 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, that we're making those acquisitions. Inflation is also another serious concern. How we're putting this proposed budget together, how that's going to impact the cost of the operations of the town, and how we can do that responsibly. And in balancing the needs of the community, programmatic needs of the organization with our given revenue. And then we have stressors on residents, businesses, and staff. And these same things are stressors on everyone, not just on our organization. I have said since long before I arrived in Riverdale Park, but I've shared with the leadership team, I'm sure the mayor and council have heard me say this, and members of the community. And I may sound a little preachy here, but in times of great stress and great change, it's important for us to be patient with ourselves and each other. And I want to thank the vast majority of the residents who have done that, who have been patient with staff and working through some difficult circumstance. But it's important to know that sometimes staff become the target of displaced angst. Someone may be having stress over all the things that all of us are having stress about. And I want to commend the staff for, in the face of that displaced angst, when perhaps someone is venting over something that has nothing to do with the situation in front of them, that the staff have responded professionally and have remained focused on delivering quality services. So who are we and how do we operate? So I want to talk a little bit about our values, and we'll go through some other slides in greater detail. But our values have been laid out for us by actions of the council and by both formal and informal. So we have a diversity and inclusion statement, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes, about where equity fits in. And our vision and commitment statements, and our E to the fifth staff effort, our resident engagement, the mayor and council's leadership, and town employees' contributions. So when we think of the town, these are some of the words that town staff came up with in thinking about the town. And I would encourage those present, if there are words that you believe describe the town, to take a moment and put those in the chat, because you can help us update this wordle as we illustrate who it is that we are. So if anyone has some thoughts on words that describe Riverdale Park, now would be the time to share those. And Director Barnes will be making sure we record those so we can amend this. But at the end of the day, I think the word community, and that's why it's biggest there in the center, is what defines who we are. So I mentioned the vision and commitment statements, and if we had a few hours, I would read through each one. But as I mentioned to the mayor at the start, I'm going to try to wrap this up in an hour and a half. So the mayor and council have adopted these vision and commitment statements. There's one on housing and neighborhoods that defines what it is that's important to the town as it relates to our neighborhood communities, and on business and economic development and sustainability and infrastructure, and on arts and recreation and community engagement and transparency, on professional, well-trained employees and transportation and ethical governance. These don't just sit on a shelf. These are very important documents that the staff team and the staff leadership team, and I would encourage the community to be familiar with, because these documents direct what it is that we do. And all you have to do is look through the mayor and council packet material, and you'll see where staff refer the mayor and council back to these previous actions and say, as written in this vision and commitment statement, this is why we're proposing the following for your consideration. And then we have our diversity and inclusion statement. And this too shapes who we are as an organization. But I mentioned a moment ago that diversity and inclusion only goes so far. Where does equity come into play? And the staff team will be working on a presentation for the council to consider revising our diversity and inclusion statement to include a statement on equity as one of our foundational guiding documents. So we'll be working on a proposal to bring that to the mayor and council for consideration. I've mentioned the E to the fifth. This is something that the staff leadership team put together a number of years ago. I think this should help the community and the mayor and council understand how the staff team frames things and talk among ourselves. We first looked to ethics. And then we work to make sure we're communicating expectations and understanding the changing expectations of the community. And then we look to the efficiency and effectiveness of whatever it is we're working on. And then we're also about action. We work to execute. Resident engagement. It's been a challenge in this virtual world. I think Director Barnes would tell us that. But we work hard on our social media platforms and through our various groups. And we had a recent communication survey, and we held virtual events, a virtual festival of lights, and a virtual children's party, and our food distributions, and our public comments, and our community cleanups. These are some examples of how the town is communicating and engaging its residents. You can add the town crier into this. You can add town announce, which will shortly be transitioned to constant contact. The important thing is that foundationally to the town, I believe we have a healthy and a strong platform with which, even in a virtual environment, we're engaging with our residents. And in the last year, in the mayor and council leadership on the legislative side, 22 resolutions, 10 ordinances, 4 motions, and 1 charter amendment. It was a busy year. A lot of those resolutions dealt with authorizing or reauthorizing programs to assist our residents and our businesses. And a lot of them had to do with COVID-19 and the town's response. So we had the legislative actions, the PPE, personal protective equipment giveaways. The town of Riverdale Park distributed 94,100 masks to our residents. I think that's an important number to celebrate. In the midst of this terrible pandemic, with all the challenges that we have faced, the town distributed 94,100 masks to 7,228 or so residents. That's a really incredible feat. And these were high quality masks to protect our residents from the pandemic. The mayor and council also made financial donations to organizations that both helped feed our residents and supported businesses. We have the ARPA Act funding. The town has received the first tranche of $6.4 million. So we have 3.2, and we've been working with the mayor and council since last summer on how the funds will be prioritized and spent. There were budget amendments to account for the ARPA funds and anticipate expenditures in the first funding cycle, which runs through this fiscal year. And then there were new and increased program funding. We've done a lot to make sure that business support. The mayor and council just recently approved some new programs for food support, as well as for rent, mortgage, and utility assistance support. So we're going to transition here in a minute, so you don't have to just hear from me for the balance of our time together this evening. But the staff team is comprised of these 6 basic offices. So we have the Office of Administrative Services, Employee Services, Department of Public Works, the Police Department, the Office of Development Services, which includes Neighborhood Services, and the Office of Finance Services. So the staff leadership team is here this evening, and they are going to walk us through their accomplishments for the last year and their goals for the year ahead. Director Barnes will lead us off. Director Barnes.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. My name is Jessica Barnes. I'm the Director of Administrative Services. 2021 was a challenging year for all of the reasons that were discussed earlier in the presentation, but it was an extremely successful year for the Office of Administrative Services and for the entire town. Just like you'll hear from the other town departments tonight, OAS had to be nimble and ready to pivot as conditions changed, both internally and externally. And we're very, very proud of the things that we were able to accomplish this year. One of our greatest accomplishments was the implementation of a pandemic-inspired election process. We held 2 elections this year, or in 2021, one in May, a townwide election, and then one in Ward 1, just 4 months later. And both of those were impacted, obviously, by the COVID-19 pandemic. We had to make changes and make changes relatively quickly. But as a result of those improvements, as a result of those changes to the process, several procedural improvements came. One of which I love to talk about is the ballot drop box. That was exciting to allow folks to be able to vote 24/7, and also the increase in absentee and mail-in voting. In 2022, the Riverdale Park Board of Elections, which will hopefully be established in the next few weeks, will make more improvements to the town election process. And we're very excited to see what comes from that in the next year. OAS was extremely successful in 2020 when automating in-person services. We had to, again, move very quickly and pivot. We continue to improve upon and refine those automated systems and services for both our internal and external customers. Some of the things that we accomplished this year was automation of the payment of the town utility bills. So those happen automatically now, as well as the automation of payment for the town crier postage. So that happens without any really staff involvement. It just is automated. We've migrated our KISSFlow system, which is a system that hosts our report a concern, which you'll see on our website, our trash concerns app, as well as our accounts payable to a new platform. We also automated the Farmers Market Dollar program, which greatly decreased the administrative costs associated with the program. For example, the cost of printing the dollars, the postage associated with mailing the dollars, the hours it takes to sort the dollars and count the dollars. All of those things were automated this year with huge improvement to the overall process. OAS also worked with the town's IT vendor to implement Duo Mobile, which was a 2-factor authentication process for users of the town's VPN network. This implementation greatly improved our security, our cybersecurity. Additional improvements to include staff training on phishing type emails and things that come into us occasionally are planned for calendar year 2022. We also launched public service announcements to improve public safety and to get more information out to our residents. We worked with the police department and members of the Chiefs Community Advisory Committee to develop a specific public service announcement related to public safety. The PSA was recorded virtually in English and in Spanish and shared on the town's communication platforms. Staff also worked to create the Mask Up Riverdale Park public service announcement to encourage residents to wear their masks during the most recent surge in cases. That also was done in English and in Spanish and shared on the town's communication platforms. In 2021, we grew the reach of the town's social media platforms. To date, we have 2,295 followers on Facebook, 1,008 followers on Twitter, and 1,272 followers on Instagram. We're looking to grow that in the next year as well. In 2021, we improved upon our virtual events. We recognized our veterans, our town veterans, and our staff veterans through a special Veterans Day reel. We also distributed 100 holiday party bags, so some to-go holiday parties this year, with the community favorite Build-A-Bear or build an animal activity, as well as other crafts and games to really lighten the spirits of it and get everybody thinking about the town and about community. We coordinated the town's COVID-19 social services programs. We coordinated the distribution of food baskets and toys to families during the holiday season. We worked with 248 families through the Farmers Market Dollar Program. We distributed masks, lots and lots of masks. And in 2022, we'll be distributing test kits to residents here in town. We designed and launched resident education campaigns. We highlighted town staff and services during Municipal Government Month, which is something celebrated during the month of November through the Maryland Municipal League. We worked on the Mask Up Riverdale Park campaign. We transitioned, we provided materials to transition to the new trash hauler. That was a big change for the town. So we prepared materials and handled outreach to our residents. And then we continue to push out information about COVID-19, vaccination clinics, social programs from other stakeholders, et cetera. As mentioned before, we evaluated the communications program in 2021. We conducted a community survey to gain a better understanding of how residents receive town information. We received 210 surveys and we'll be working to implement some improvements in calendar year 2022. OAS also supported the increased needs of all town departments. OAS supports the other town departments through accounts payable, payroll, communications, overall administrative support. But we also coordinated 4 invitation to bids and request for proposal processes. We responded to 21 Maryland Public Information Act requests, which spanned nearly all departments. We worked on branding and logistics and event planning. It was a busy year. In calendar year 2022, OAS will work on continuing to distribute masks and COVID-19 test kits as needed. As the pandemic continues, as conditions change, we'll be ready and we'll continue to help prepare our residents. We're going to re-engage residents through COVID-safe programming and events, outdoor and socially distanced activities. More information about that will be coming soon. We're going to implement new and improved communication tools. We're going to build on the results of the communication survey. We're going to learn from the information provided from our residents. We're going to continue to grow the reach of social media to over 3,000 followers on Facebook. And we're going to assist the newly established boards, commissions, and committees. We will have a new board of elections, hopefully soon, a redistricting committee, the town seal design committee, and we're going to continue to work with the Ethics Commission and the Board of Code Appeals. The Ethics Commission held 8 meetings over the last year. They've been a very busy group, so we're looking forward to working with them again in 2022.
And with that, we'll transition to Director Smith. Paul, can you share with us the accomplishments and the goals for employee services?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Paul Smith. I'm the Director of Finance and Employee Services. I will be addressing the employee services tonight, and my colleague, Gentry Jones, Deputy Director of Finance, will be addressing the financial part. As we all know, the pandemic continues to be very challenging to us, our families and town residents and business communities, and things were changing very rapidly. And under the leadership of the town manager, the town responded quickly. And in doing so, the town developed a remote work policy. The policy allowed employees to work at alternate work locations for all or part of the work week. The remote work policy outlined the expectations for employees who are working at locations other than their offices. As part of the process, staff had to review job descriptions to determine which positions were eligible to work remotely, realizing that all positions were not eligible to do so. As part of the COVID-19 initiative, staff instituted a mandatory vaccination program. The town implemented the policy to safeguard the health of its employees and their families, their customers, visitors, and community at large. At this time, we're 98%. We've reached our goal. We're at 98%. We have one other person that we're working with who's under doctor's care. We implemented a COVID-19 tracking system where we were with our employee software, where we can track who's been vaccinated, and also we can track workplace cases while still protecting the privacy and data of our employees. We developed COVID-19 protocols in the early days of the pandemic. We implemented protocols to fulfill the town's duty as an employer to minimize risk and to ensure measures to protect every employee and by extension, their families in our community. Some of our other accomplishments, we finalized the virtual training program. I like to call it TRP University, where we're going to have a training program for staff on workplace compliance, which would include ethics, workplace diversity, inclusion, sensitivity. We're looking at adding classes on Word, Microsoft Word, Excel, and other programs. So it just will not be a compliance, but it will also be an education feature. We initiated the Employee Assistance Program. We work closely with public safety and the acting chief of police to initiate the Employee Assistance Program. It is a workplace service to help employees cope with crises and other stress-related situations. As we all know, we're living in a very stressful time, and sometimes we all need a professional to lean on. So we thought it was important that we initiate that program. We've automated processes and we've reduced paper. And by automating some processes, we increase productivity, improve control, visibility, and quality of work, thus having happier employees, vendors, and residents. When we talk about the reduced paper, we've also looked at the environmental benefits. So shout out to the green team. We've also enhanced employee engagement in several ways. First, by giving our team a voice. We have Monday morning brown bag meetings, recently rebranded as the Monday Morning Huddle. It gives an opportunity for employees to share and to get increased information and knowledge about what each department is doing. We take the opportunity in those meetings to make the town vision clear. We challenge each other to do better. We find ways to appreciate and give kudos to those that are doing innovative things. And as town manager Lestitian always does, he encourages us to lead by example. So we take the opportunity to lead by example in those meetings. We are finalizing the updated job descriptions. We're revising job descriptions has been one of our top priorities. Job descriptions help with performance reviews, compensation planning, succession planning, employee training, and development needs. Also, they will help in our goals of automating the performance review process. We have completed the analysis of the defined benefit plan. The analysis included a review of the cash flow, asset allocation, and asset performance, and the asset performance. And we've established goals for 2023, and a few of our goals are automated performance reviews. And as I stated a few minutes ago, part of that was we've already started the new online performance evaluation system. We will do rollout to streamline the performance process, to increase on-time evaluation ratings, and tailor performance evaluations to actual position competencies. Second goal is to increase safety programs to decrease workplace accidents. Our motto is safety first. And it's one of our priorities in our goals. We want to create a safe workplace by increasing safety programs. We believe training employees about workplace safety is very, very important. But not only workplace safety, but we're putting an emphasis on how to also identify hazards, as well as evaluating the workplace and its operations to update outdated policies and practices, and to make sure that everybody's working safely. We're working to retire old equipment, and one of our thoughts are to prevent rather than respond. Our goal is to review, respond, and to improve the workplace. We all understand that with workplace safety, the cost of workplace safety is important too, because workers' comp insurance, when the rates go up, we have less money to spend. So our goal is to decrease workers' comp so that we can invest the savings into our employees. And we think we can do that by initiating other safety programs. Another goal is to synthesize information into a risk management manual. Currently, most departments have a risk management plan, and we're working to bring the information together and create a unified manual for the entire town. This manual will identify potential risks and provide tools for staff to analyze the risk and develop techniques to help avoid risk altogether. We're also in the process of update. One of our goals for next year is to update the town's personnel manual, to revise the employee manual to address outdated biased language and policies. State and federal laws have changed, and the town as a whole has changed. And I think the last time we've updated the manual was 2013. Once we have it updated, our goal is to review the manual every 6 months to update any changes that have taken place. One of our goals is to complete a classification and compensation study. The overall goal is the classification and compensation study includes to ensure market and internal structure alignment, to simplify the classification structures, to identify paths for career progression, to address recruitment and retention needs, to review minimum qualifications to facilitate recruitment of talent. And we believe that conducting this study will also help us with other challenges in pay compression. And I think that is all of my goals. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. We appreciate you walking us through that. And we will have time for Q&A session at the end. So if folks have questions, please hold your questions till the end. Acting Chief Quicksons, if you would please, if you could walk us through the police department's accomplishments and your goals for the year ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Rosa Quicksons, the Acting Chief of Police. In 2021, we achieved ABLE certification. ABLE stands for Active Bystandership for Law Enforcement. It's a program that was created by Georgetown University Law School and the global law firm Sheppard Mullin. It prepares and trains officers to successfully intervene to prevent or stop unnecessary harmful behavior by fellow officers and to create a law enforcement culture that supports peer intervention. We have 2 sergeants that are certified in the training curriculum. We completed our annually mandated training program for all staff that requires training in topics such as anti-discrimination, workplace harassment, ethical decision-making, and cultural diversity. Our sworn staff also undergo de-escalation, implicit bias, use of force, sexual assault, and critical decision-making training. In the communications division, we implemented the new PowerPhone total response system, which greatly reduces call taking errors and missing information, which ultimately reduces the department's liability and increases officer safety. We've also automated the process for obtaining copies of police reports as well as accident reports. We have been on the front line since the beginning of this pandemic and haven't skipped a beat. Due to this, we have had to get creative in ways to keep residents and officers safe, but there have been a few times where precaution wasn't possible. For example, we had 2 incidents where, as John mentioned earlier, we had officers that needed to perform CPR, one on a victim of a horrific car accident and the other was on an overdose, but both individuals survived. We also had a departmental shooting, as you know, where one of our officers was shot, and by the grace of God, he's doing great. Although we haven't met in person due to COVID, we continue our partnership with the members of the Chiefs Advisory Committee and hope that in the not too distant future, we will be able to continue growing that alliance. As we look to the year ahead, our plans are to continue to grow the department in line with the town's diversity and inclusion policy while still maintaining our high standards. We will complete the implementation of the ABLE curriculum. We will expand our collaborative community policing relationships with town residents and businesses. We will also address succession planning in our annual training plan to address future potential retirements, building depth within the department. We will continue the development of employee assistance program, which will provide officers with access to confidential mental health services. We will look to increase transparency by posting the annual community policing report, serious officer incidents and discipline reports, and will continue to post our updated policies online. In closing, we would like to thank you for your time and to say that the town is fortunate to have a professional and diverse police department that is committed to the town's values, diversity, inclusion policy statement, and the town's vision and commitment to its residents. Thank you very much. With that, I'll pass it off to Director Shelton.
Thank you, Rosa. Good evening, Mayor and Council and members of the public. 2021 was a productive year for the Office of Development Services. The town was able to secure community development block grant funds from the federal government for the 3rd year in a row. Over those 3 grants, the awards total $455,000, and these grants have helped the town install a new sidewalk, install new lighting, and other projects that improve resident and business safety. The town also received a state grant of $177,000 to improve the Adam and Emily Plummer Park. As Director Barnes mentioned before, the Farmers Market Dollars program was updated to provide participants with digital gift cards instead of the physical vouchers we had previously used. This reduced the staff time required and the operating costs of the program. The town supported local businesses by awarding $107,000 in town grant funds. The town also supported the reapplication of the Rhizone program and is working with the University, the City of College Park, and the county on a Rhizone rental assistance program to incentivize more businesses to locate in town. The town was also able to award $27,000 to town residents to support those making improvements to their accessory structures and those performing emergency repairs. The town held 2 virtual charrettes to receive resident feedback on improvements for both the East-West Highway underpass and the town's food forest. We've recently seen a lot of new construction, and in 2021, we saw the completion of a new 225-unit multifamily property in Riverdale Park Station, the Pilot House. Nearby, Pepco had installed new electric vehicle charging stations in the town center. And the town established the Economic Recovery Strategy Fund to both accept and utilize the funds awarded by the American Rescue Plan Act. Development Services aims to administer the American Rescue Plan Act funds in an efficient manner, helping as many town residents and businesses as possible. Development Services also plans to apply for additional grant funds from the county, state, and federal levels to assist with more local projects. We also plan to identify investment opportunities for town-owned properties and ways that we can improve them. Improvement opportunities. Development Services has begun working with organizations to help serve minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses, and will continue to foster relationships to help these businesses. And lastly, development services will continue to expand the town's accessible base by encouraging new development and protect the accessible base we have by working closely with neighborhood services. Neighborhood services monitors properties in town and ensures that town code is being complied with. Steps have been taken to establish a new town property maintenance code this year or last year, and the most crucial part of this being the property maintenance code review to determine potential inconsistencies and to establish more local amendments. Neighborhood Services also takes proactive measures to assist residents. This year, Neighborhood Services has assisted with the promotion of vaccine clinics held in town and also assisted with the delivery of 94,000 masks to town residents. Neighborhood Services aim is to promote and maintain a safe and desirable living and working environment, which involves notifying property owners when they have violations. Sometimes the town's partners are able to assist residents and businesses to a greater degree than the Neighborhood Services Department is able to, and Neighborhood Services regularly works with local entities to help residents with their difficulties. In the future, Neighborhood Services will implement a software system to streamline the record-keeping process. The office will also establish a guide to assist businesses and inform them how they can remain compliant with the town code. This information will be all the more crucial when the town has adopted the new property maintenance code, which will apply to commercial entities as well. I mentioned earlier that Neighborhood Services performs proactive measures as well when referencing the delivery of masks, but they also assist with informing residents of town programs that might be of assistance to them. For example, if there's a town resident who is struggling with the maintenance of their fence, the Neighborhood Services officers will speak with the town resident about the accessory structure grant program, for example. Neighborhood Services will expand on their proactive measures to create even more programs to assist in removing blighted conditions. And with that said, we don't work in a vacuum and regularly coordinate with other staff in town to maximize our efficiency. Staff like Gentry Jones, who will be able to share more about his department now. Gentry?
Thank you, Ryan. Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. Accomplishments of finance services for the fiscal year of 2021 consist of the first phase 2 payroll automation. So recently, the town has implemented electronic timesheets, which have improved on accuracy and efficiency with the payroll process. With COVID-19 and the requirement for remote work, phase 2 of the payroll automation allows for a more convenient, secure, and safe way to report time. Additionally, the payroll software works with and is integrated with human resources software. This allows for employees to update their payroll information, request time off, have it approved, and have it flow into the payroll software from the human resources. So in short, human resource software and the payroll software work together, and they've created a more accurate payroll process with less errors and in a more efficient manner. The second accomplishment for the Office of Finance Services is the expansion of automated payments. The town had already provided an option to pay invoices via credit cards online, but that option was not yet available for transactions in the police department. With COVID-19 concerns, the communications services team in the police department suggested an additional way to receive payments. So, in a collaborative effort, with help from the Department of Public Works, the town was able to install a touchless card reader that records payments and syncs with the town's current accounting software. So now, the town can receive touchless payments for vehicle impounds or ports, and this does reduce the handling of cash. It increases security, increases accuracy, and it improves safety for both staff and residents. Another accomplishment for the Office of Finance Services is the Distinguished Budget Award. The GFOA, or the Government Finance Officers Association, established the Distinguished Budget Presentation Awards program to encourage and assist state and local governments to prepare budget documents of the very highest quality that affect both the guidelines established by the National Advisory Council on State and Local Budgeting and the GFOA's best practices on budgeting. The GFOA uses the award to recognize individual governments that succeed in achieving that goal. So at this point, the town of Riverdale Park can proudly make the claim to have received this prestigious award, not only the last year, but the 2 years that preceded as well. According to the GFOA, approximately just 1,800 governments, including states, cities, counties, special districts, school districts, have been recognized in receiving this award. So having received this award, the Office of Finance Services most certainly takes great pride. Enhanced transparency is another accomplishment of the Office of Finance Services. In an effort to continue to be transparent and adhere to the guidelines put forward by the GFOA, the town has expanded reporting on finance to 2 public meetings per month. With COVID uncertainty, the Office of Finance Services had introduced a revenue analysis to ensure transparency with the town's financial standing and has continued to do so. Another accomplishment is hitting the budget projection. The previous fiscal year had a town budget of $7,251,320. The town hit that budget mark at 99.66%, with an actual of $7,226,722. While we may not always hit this 99.66%, Finance Services puts together the budget with the intentions of doing so every year. Another accomplishment of Finance Services is incorporating the remote processes. The budget and audit processes are 2 very strenuous, complex tasks that require a collaborative effort from all of the staff. While it initially took some adjustment, both of these were completed remotely and done in a very efficient manner. Another accomplishment is increasing general fund reserve. So in being conservative with our budgeting process, the town was able to increase the general reserve with net revenue in excess of expenditures. And these funds are means to fund capital improvement projects. Closing out CARE Act funding is another accomplishment. With the help of the Development Services Department, the town was able to receive roughly all of the reimbursement for CARES Act funding. This was by no means an easy or smooth process, with legislation changing the way that reporting was to be handled on more than one occasion. Even with all of that, we were able to successfully close out the CARES Act. So that's yet another accomplishment. And lastly, we have everything ARPA. So ARPA, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, uses federal dollars for funding that were dealt to the town to provide direct relief, contain COVID-19, and rescue the economy. Planning for the use of the funds is just one part of ARPA. Reporting and accounting for the use of these funds is also a very key component. So the Office of Finance Services has implemented a separate accounting account strictly for ARPA funds and has done so in a way where the reporting categories are set forth to remain in compliance. So that concludes the accomplishments of Finance Services. Next, I will cover some of the goals that we have. So the first goal is to initiate steps to achieve the GFOA Financial Reporting Award. The GFOA established a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting program to encourage and assist state and local governments to go beyond the minimum requirement of generally accepted accounting principles, to prepare annual comprehensive financial reports that evidence the spirit of transparency and full disclosure, and then to recognize individual governments that succeed in achieving that goal. So the town has consistently received the Distinguished Budget Award. The next goal is to receive the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Another goal is to implement a new financial software system. The town, as I just mentioned, is in pursuit of the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. A new financial software system will help to produce the annual comprehensive financial report that the town is required to submit in order to receive that award. A new fund accounting software is not just a benefit to finance services, as the software system that we do hope to implement will incorporate aspects from other departments, such as neighborhood services, like Ryan had just mentioned, and the Department of Public Works. Better reporting allows for better decision-making when it comes to budgeting, forecasting, and making important financial decisions. Another goal of finance services is to finalize and implement purchasing and procurement manual. So currently the town is working on purchasing and procurement manuals to increase the transparency and to allow for an easier process in making purchases. Another goal is to develop a 3-year CIP projection. And this in turn helps with planning and projecting with other aspects of the budget and to help put the town in a more favorable position moving forward. And a last goal for the Office of Finance Services is to update the accounts collection plan. The town was using a third-party collections company that went out of business. So currently the town is looking to re-examine how we collect on our accounts receivables. And that's something that we hope to implement in the very near future. So that concludes the Office of Finance Services. I believe Ivy is next to present on the Department of Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I am absolutely delighted to speak with you about the accomplishments and aspirations of the Department of Public Works. I'm Ivy Lewis, the director. However, my title is Director of Public Projects and Services, and I'm happy to report that I completed my 3rd year with the department last November. The Department of Public Works has a small work crew of 6 field workers with a big responsibility to maintain the town's infrastructure, including buildings, and manage projects and services in an efficient and effective manner. The department's composition includes my position, an operations manager who is responsible for the day-to-day activities of the 6-member crew. The crew includes 4 maintenance techs and 2 maintenance tech drivers who possess and are required to have a commercial driver's license. The department shares 1/3 of a special projects coordinator position to assist with process development and process and project management for the Department of Public Works. Also hire a seasonal maintenance tech driver for the winter season to assist with leaf collection and the snow and ice removal operation, and to provide support on other work assignments during this time. In summary, the department's responsibilities include maintenance of all town roads, road markings, sidewalks, signs, street lights, street trees, and public furniture. Building maintenance, including the 3 municipal center building, the police department building, town hall, and public works, the Boys and Girls Club, and the town center train station. The department maintains a vehicle fleet of 12. We're responsible for snow and ice removal, leaf collection, emergency cleanup, procurement, contract management, and project management. And I was actually reminded from the other department presentation this evening that DPW has led or participated in a number of town-wide door-to-door distribution leaf bags. I believe we distributed 9,000 leaf bags during the leaf season. We've distributed many of the masks that went throughout the community, door hangers for provide or convey information on a variety of subjects, and trash containers with service information magnets. Public Works also supports our co-workers in all departments to complete projects, to meet their building services needs, and to transport goods and services from donors to beneficiaries on behalf of other departments. I'm very proud of the department's accomplishments in 2021, especially with the pandemic still a major threat during this time, and the need to take extra precautions and to maintain our established protocols to keep staff safe, while at the same time providing a consistent level of service and being responsive to requests for service from all segments of our community. And for most of the year, we did not have a full complement of staff for a variety of reasons. Yet, the department achieved many significant and measurable milestones. We onboarded a new trash collection vendor, Jada Trucking, after 11 years with another company. We collaborated with the vendor and the Office of Administrative Services to provide collection information in 1,300 trash containers. We meet regularly together, the staff and the hauler, to educate each other on issues and collaborate on solutions to maintain quality residential trash collection services in Riverdale Park. We secured several new contracts and agreements, a vendor contract for snow and ice operation, the town's first, to supplement staff resources during major snow and ice events, an agreement with the county to transfer Riverdale Court to the town. It took a while, but we pushed that rock up the hill. We also entered into an agreement with State Highway to reimburse the town for a portion of its expenditures, maintaining East-West Highway. That was another hill we had to climb. And we have two contracts for more than $500,000 for the Municipal Center renovation project and the road improvement project currently underway. To impact and improve our environment, we're proud of our collaboration with CCAR to plant 55 trees in the town right-of-way in 2021, and with the Green Team to purchase and disperse 14 new pet waste stations into the far reaches of the community. We also increased the number of public trash containers in town and introduced for the first time public recycling containers in key locations. We are especially excited about the conservation landscape area we created at Nicholson and 47th Avenue under the guidance of the Neighborhood Design Center that we affectionately call Blueberry Hill, because that's one of the dominant plants we planted on that hill. We supported the White Walk, Bike, Drive Safety Initiative through our ongoing efforts to refresh crosswalks, stop bars, and curb markings, and through regular street sweeping to keep gutters clean and safe for cyclists and others. And we identified new traffic calming solutions for Riverdale Park Station that we look forward to implementing over the next several months and throughout the next calendar year. Lastly, we completed several key projects in 2021. Phase 1 of the Trolley Trail lighting project with lights on all Pepco poles along the trail in town. An electrical plan for Phase 2 is now complete, and new town decorative lights will be installed on both sides of the town center this year to fill the gap. We constructed a sidewalk on 48th Avenue and completed a town-wide road assessment project using new computer technology that allowed for a faster and accurate evaluation of road conditions, problems on road segments that were identified through this effort or part of the road improvement project that is currently underway and should be completed over the next several months. We also completed a comprehensive sidewalk repair project in Madison Hill, which has inspired a neighborhood by neighborhood approach for sidewalk repair moving forward. And certainly delighted to announce that we have received a design solution for stormwater improvements on Longfellow Street, a project that's overdue, and for which we now have a viable solution to address excessive flooding on public and several private properties. The construction phase of that project is getting underway. Our goals for 2022, with a focus on effectiveness, efficiency, and accountability. We will implement a work team structure in the department whereby we'll have 2 work teams that will divide and be responsible for the department's workload. Each team will be led by a team leader who will report to the operations manager. The road assessment approach we used in 2021 will allow us to develop a multi-year road improvement strategy, plan and program to make repairs and extend the life of our road infrastructure. We want to not only complete all of our infrastructure inventories, and you've heard me talk about the need to do so over the last couple of years. So we have an accounting of the infrastructure that we have in place in this condition. But in addition to that, we want to collect the data in a geo or mapping format that we then make available to the public online. And we want to reduce our use of road salt for snow and ice removal by adopting sustainable practices, including the use of brine that works more immediately and will allow us to use 4 times less salt to prevent ice accumulation than to remove ice after it has formed. Additionally, we will continue to consider other best practices to further reduce our use of salt and its impact on our environment. Thank you. And I think it goes back to John.
It does. Director Lewis, thank you very much. So, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and the community, you've heard quite a bit about the past year and the year ahead in terms of what some of our goals are. There's actually some additional goals. We limited it to 5 major goals per department this evening. And we'll be updating the staff goal document and presenting that to the council in the weeks ahead. So I want to transition just for a few moments to looking ahead to the fiscal 2023 budget. So Deputy Director Jones talked with you all and the community about challenges and opportunities. And I want to take a minute to talk about how the budget team and the leadership team are looking at community needs and programmatic needs, and then finding balance as we make our revenue projections. And I've mentioned this before, the concept of balancing more than just the numbers, because a budget is a values document. And we have to figure out how we take our residents' contributions through their taxes and fees and things of that nature, our various revenue sources, and have it be used in the most efficient and effective manner to deliver quality services. And we've in every budget cycle, we turn to what does the community need? And we project, do we need more street sweeping? Do we need more parks? Does the infrastructure we have need improvement or more frequent maintenance? Does the staff team have the proper up-to-date training so we can deliver quality services? All these things flow into our calculus. And at the end of the day, when we go to balance the budget, we balance all those things competing against each other when we put the proposed budget together. And as the mayor and council know, the staff are recommending no changes to any fees and no changes to any tax rates. That's our assumptions for the budget, and the proposed budget will not call for or recommend to the council any changes in fees or rates to any taxes. And we also look at the programmatic needs. So you have what's needed in the community and then what's needed to help us get there. And one thing that we are looking at are staffing levels. And we do have some uncertainty yet, especially with inflation and geopolitical forces well beyond our influence. And but we are looking at our staffing levels, because once we fill the special projects coordinator position, that will give our general government offices the staffing level that they had in 2016. We've held positions vacant, and we've reorganized and we've re-engineered, and we've worked to be more efficient and effective at what we have. And so filling this position is crucial. And but we are evaluating whether or not any additional positions may need to be added. That's yet to be determined, and whether or not recommendations will be included in the proposed budget. But it is something that the Budget Committee is examining. But in all this, it's about finding balance. And that's what we do every day, not just with the budget, but in our decisions. We work to find balance. And we do that so we can provide quality services to the town's residents. So we've shared a lot of information this evening. We'll have this beautiful picture up. It's one of the photos we had taken when we updated the photos of the town. We'll leave this up as myself and the staff leadership team are available for any questions. I would ask Director Barnes, can you perhaps keep an eye out if we have residents asking questions, if they raise their hands. Mr. Mayor, I will first defer to you to see if you have any comments or questions from members of the council.
Mr. Town Manager, I'm hoping that I don't get feedback because my wife is listening to this in a nearby room. Thank you to everyone, yourself, all the members of the leadership team, for a very informative and very high coverage State of the Town address. I will admit that there were a few things, not too many, but a few things that I learned this evening that are going on or are planned. And so even the mayor is not aware of everything that the staff is up to. And that's a good thing. It's good to have the staff heavily involved in working independently. So as I said, again, thank you so much for a fantastic presentation. And I'm going to leave the floor open for others to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any questions from any members of the council? Councilmember Lingua, you have your hand raised, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Lustician. And I'd like to thank you and the staff for providing such a comprehensive report. And in that report, I am seeing a fair amount of automation that is taking place. And some of that automation is going to be between the integration between staff and town residents. And my question is about how will you be finding that balance to, while trying to promote some efficiency and transparency, of maintaining, for lack of a better term, a personal touch.
And I thank you for the question, sir. And I think that's what we do. And we're a small town. And whether any one of us are meeting with the resident in person or virtually, they have our full attention, not just our ear. And so I think that the personal touch, while it's been a challenge for the past 2 years, and any automated process will continue to be a challenge. But it's the goal was to meet residents where they are, to allow greater flexibility in contacting staff, and greater flexibility in them getting what they need from the town, whether it's applying for a building permit at 10 o'clock at night, or accessing the information they need at 3 o'clock in the morning. It still will be done with as much of a personal touch as possible, sir. But we are sensitive to the fact that with virtual services, we have to be careful that we do not lose the full experience of engaging our residents. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions from members of the council? I do not see any council member hands raised. We do have. Yes.
Sorry, I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for the presentation and thanks for all the work that you and the staff have put into it and into the all the work you put into keeping our town running over the last 2 years plus of the pandemic. We're really have a great debt of gratitude to you guys. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Smith. Those words mean a lot to the staff team. That helps encourage us to continue on. We appreciate that. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, sir. Mr. Inyang?
Yes, how are you doing? First, I would also sort of echo the same comments too. I think this was an impressive presentation about all the things that have changed in a short period of time that I hear now. It's good to see the town respond to people's emerging requirements of what they expect from their sort of government services in terms of like the online nature of it, expedited services. So that's been pretty impressive to see the change happen in such a short period of time. I guess my question is, with all the positives sort of been laid out, I always sort of like to think about what are the one or two things that that either were not able to be addressed or sort of like opportunities that you see for next year, or I guess this current year, as like we didn't necessarily hit them in the past fiscal year, but moving forward is something that you look forward to. So anything that comes to mind would be great to hear.
Great, and so I'll speak to one that is relevant for your neighborhood, sir, and that is the road transfer. And so the road transfer is something that's important to happen so that we can deliver quality road maintenance services, and as well as the community would be eligible for the town's permit parking program. And it's not just roads, but it's also the tree inventory and the lighting inventory. And but that's been a complicated process. And but we are well on our way. And I fully anticipate that the roads will be accepted in June or July. Is that correct, Director Lewis? Okay.
Yes, it is. Sorry.
That's okay. So that's one example, sir. We have other examples where we've run into supply chain issues, where we've been trying to move projects along only to learn that there's an issue with supply. We've made great progress on the municipal center project, but then we still ran into some regulatory issues interacting with the county as it relates to permits. So I will say this, as someone who's been working in local government for a long time, we're nimble and we're rather persistent. So yes, things get delayed, schedules get changed, but we do not lose our focus. And so we will continue to push forward as best we can. And we also have limitations based on bandwidth of staff? Yes, we do. We are a small group of folks. The town has 50 employees, and the folks that are involved in the vast majority of putting all the projects and that together are members of the leadership team, a subset of the leadership team. And so as things change, so do we. So I hope that answers your question, at least in part, sir. There's other operational goals that have been on my list for some time. I'm sure, not meaning to call the mayor out, but I'm sure he has some things on his list too. And things get delayed, but it's about being tenacious. It's about pushing forward, and it's about being nimble. And if we learn tomorrow that the county permit is ready on the municipal center project, things will have to shift. And so we shift and we move here and we move there, but we continue to move forward. I hope that answers your question, sir.
It does. Thank you.
And Mr. Hames, Sid Hames?
Yes, that's correct. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Good, no problem. Very good presentation. Thank you for having it. So my one question, very specific question, where is the town on any progress with developments or sale or rental of any of the Douglas properties? Specifically town center, I would, that area, but also, any of the other ones in our town.
So Douglas Development owns a number of properties, either directly or through subsidiaries, either in the town center, or they have a cluster of buildings over on Kenilworth Avenue. In terms of with their where they are in their development plans for various sites, that would be a question that could be more fully answered by Douglas Development. Have we had discussions with Douglas about our concerns for conditions of their buildings? Yes. Have we had discussions with Douglas Development about future plans for their various buildings? Yes, we have. And it's my understanding that one proposed development will be going through a county process through Park and Planning. I'm not sure when that's going to be announced, but there will be an announcement from Park and Planning about plans that Douglas has for a building in the town center area.
Okay, and just one last comment. It feels like, that's the missing piece when you have like town center. You have the trail leading up to Riverdale Station. Like, it can be such a more well-developed area in town if some of those properties could be developed or rented out for retail space. Yeah.
And sir,
yes.
I think everyone on this call will agree with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So you'll have, I think, agreement across the entire staff team. I'll let the mayor speak for the council, but I will say that the town has developed a concept to improve the underpass location. And so there's going to be more discussion and movement on that, and that's the 410 underpass there, as well as the town is working with Park and Planning and the state on a bond bill that had been previously awarded to have that that those funds come under the control of the town that would work to realign the trolley trail and generally make improvements in the town center area. And so that's something that's being worked on as well. So we're trying to secure some additional funding there to make something good happen in the town center. We really have a gem. You see it on the screen here. It offers something completely different than any experience around us to have this type of a small town feel. Mr. Mayor has his hand up. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Just wanted to mention that we've made immense progress in the town center over the last 20 years. I've been working on getting those spaces filled before I was elected, when I was a town council member. I've been working for it on those for more than 20 years, and we've made a lot of progress. We still have more to do, and there's more happening, but I actually feel pretty good about where we are. I think that I join other members of the community in being sad at our recent loss of Banana Blossom Bistro. I had a long discussion with Annie Escara about their reasons for leaving, and it did not have anything to do with the town and with any interactions with town government. It had more to do with economic conditions and particularly the labor market in the restaurant business. But I appreciate your points, Mr. Hames, and I will be, I think the council will be, I think staff will be working to fill those storefronts as best we can.
And I'm not sure who had their hand raised next. We have two hands up. I'm going to go in order on my screen, and Councilmember Lingua.
Thank you very much. And part and answer to add to your response regarding Douglas Development Properties, one such property at 5711 Sarvis Avenue, also, which is a address for a Douglas development building, to be opening either later this month or sometime in April, all things pending, but that's the look to be the projected date, is the Sarvis Empowerment Cafe, part of the CCAR CDC's Workforce Development Initiative. And that is in a Douglas development property.
Thank you for adding that, sir. And Mr. Inyang?
I have a question around the, what are the tangible, I guess, realities around redistricting? I'm familiar on like, so like the state and federal level in terms of like budget reallocation, but for the town of Riverdale, like how does redistricting sort of, is there any tangible income, like tangible effects of it besides sort of like rebalancing voting numbers?
So that's not a question that that I can answer, except to say that the council will be forming a redistricting committee. It will be chaired by the mayor. I believe it will have 3 other participants. I believe so, perhaps 4. And we will be advertising, Director Barnes will be advertising for folks that are interested in being on that committee. Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to speak to this.
I would love to jump in. I've actually been involved with the previous 2 redistrictings in town, both in 2000, just as a resident, and in 2010, I led the effort. And it is all about trying to get the best representation of the residents of town on the town council. And we have some legal constraints that we have to meet. And we have geographic issues that are tied up with those that we also have to meet the legal requirements on exactly what the districts look like. But the goal is always to get everyone in town to have a voice on the town council. And when I started discussing this issue with town manager Listician and my colleagues on the council 6 or 8, 10 months ago, then the issue of should we have a citizens redistricting commission came up, and I think we came up with a good compromise on that to have both representatives from the council, myself, and residents weighing in, and we'll see where it goes. And if you're interested, then I hope you will reach out and we can see whether you are an appropriate person to be on that commission. And I believe, if I'm correct, my town crier arrived just a few days ago, and the redistricting commission was on the front page, the crier announcement about it and seeking applicants. So I hope that answered your question about the purposes of redistricting at this time.
It did, and that's what prompted the question. I saw it just now. So thank you, appreciate it.
And I was muted during that. So sorry, I just got the little pop-up saying, would you like to unmute? And I sure would. So are there any additional questions from anyone? And we're also streaming live on Facebook. So if anyone has questions on Facebook, you can post them there as well. I don't see any additional hands raised. So I will end with saying that it's the beginning, and putting my thoughts together for tonight, I thought it's not appropriate to have an end to the state of the town. Our state of the town grows each and every day, and at the beginning of the presentation, I shared information on our various partners, and whether individuals or groups, and the staff team, and the elected officials, and our residents. So each day, each one of us, each their own measure, makes Riverdale Park a wonderful community. So Mr. Mayor and members of the council, from a staff perspective, the state of the town is strong. We're much better financially positioned today than we were 5 years ago. We are a much more diverse team than we were 5 years ago. And we've accomplished so much more in the face of considerable challenges, not just in the last year, but in the last 2 years, to show really who we are as a community. And for that, I think the mayor and council and our residents and our business owners and our employees should be proud. And with that, we'll conclude tonight's presentation, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Town Manager, members of the leadership team, and all town staff. And thank you to all the residents who joined us this evening for the State of the Town address. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.